Hello student, once again welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I will tell you about problem solving and I will show you the problem from NEET and JEE level. And before going into the problem solving, I would like to request you to go through my previous video so that you become familiar with the theories present in this chapter solution, and you get familiar with the formulas and equation involved in this chapter so that it will be easy for you to understand the problem solving part. Another thing I would like to tell you, please go through the video till the end. Don't skip the video. Whenever you get time, then only watch the video. Don't skip, because in that case you may skip one of the best problem. So try to go through the video till the end without skipping, and surely you will get benefited from this video. Then please like this video, share this video with your friend, and also subscribe my channel. Let's start with our first question. The first question is, what is the value of I for phosphoric acid in ideal solution? What is the value of I in phosphoric acid in ideal solution? So phosphoric acid, the formula is H3PO4. It is given. In case of ideal solution, that means the solution is dilute, so it will dissociate completely. 3H plus and plus PO4 3 minus. So a total of N equal to 4 ions are formed. So we can calculate the I value. I is equal to N minus 1 into alpha plus 1. So N equal to 4 minus 1 into alpha, 100% dissociation. So it will be 1 plus 1. So finally it is 4. So the correct option is option A, that is 4. The second question is, maximum lowering of vapor pressure is observed in case of 0.1 molar glucose, 0.1 molar barium chloride, 0.1 molar magnesium sulfate, 0.1 molar sodium chloride. Now since the concentration of all the solution is same, 0.1 molar, since the concentration is also given in molarity, so the solution which has maximum N value will have maximum I value and will have maximum lowering of vapor pressure. So what is the trick? The solution which has maximum N value after dissociation or which has maximum I value will have maximum lowering of vapor pressure. So in case of barium chloride, you can see BaCl2 will dissociate into barium 2 plus 2Cl minus. So here N is equal to 3. That means I is equal to 3, since alpha is 1, that is 100% dissociation. In case of magnesium sulfate, it will dissociate into 2 magnesium ion and sulfate ion. So N will be 2 and I will be 2. Sodium chloride, again N will be 2, I will be 2. So the answer is option B, that is barium chloride will have maximum lowering of vapor pressure. The third question is, 0.01 molar solution has 3% sucrose, 4% barium chloride, 2% potassium chloride, 1% ferric chloride. Then the correct order of freezing point at 1 atm pressure. Now what we know the freezing point get depressed, that means there is lowering of freezing point. There is elevation of boiling point and lowering of freezing point or depression in freezing point. So the solution which contain more number of particles, that is more I value, will have more lower freezing point. So that solution will have minimum freezing point. So we have to consider which all solution: barium chloride, potassium chloride, ferric chloride and sucrose. Now you can see there are percentage composition given, but at the same time all the solution are 0.01 molar. That means by molarity concept all the solution has same number of mole. So same number of mole are present. Now sucrose will not dissociate it is a non-electrolyte. Barium chloride will dissociate into 3 particles, potassium chloride will dissociate into 2 particles, ferric chloride will dissociate into 4 particles. So in case of ferric chloride, number of particles is more, that is I value is maximum in case of ferric chloride. So freezing point will be minimum in case of ferric chloride, and then it will be barium chloride, then potassium chloride, then sucrose. So the correct option will be option B. So ferric chloride, then barium chloride, FeCl3, then BaCl2, then potassium chloride, then sucrose. Highest boiling point is found in 0.1 molar sodium chloride, 0.1 molar barium chloride, 0.1 molar sucrose, 0.1 molar potassium chloride. Since the concentration of all the solution is in molarity, so only thing we have to check is the I value. So you can do this yourself and you will send the answer in the comment section. So we will move on to the next question, that is the fifth one. The fifth one, the depression in freezing point of 0.01 molar aqueous solution of urea, sodium chloride and sodium sulfate is in the ratio 1:1:1, 1:2:3, 1:2:4 or 2:2:3. So what all things are given? It is urea, then the second one is sodium chloride, then it is sodium sulfate. So by now you can understand urea is a non-electrolyte, so I will be 1. For sodium chloride I will be 2, since n equal to 2. For sodium sulfate I will be 3. So you can see sodium sulfate has the maximum value of I. So the ratio says 1:2:3. So it is the second option which is the correct option. Okay. Next problem, the sixth one, the depression in freezing point of 0.01 molar aqueous solution of HCl, copper sulfate, potassium sulfate. HCl, copper sulfate, what it is given? HCl, copper sulfate and potassium sulfate are in the ratio. So you can see it is similar to the previous question, and hope you can do this yourself. So do it yourself and send the answer in the comment section, and then I will discuss again in the next video if required, because I know you will be able to do it. So let's move to the next one. Which of the following aqueous solution has the highest boiling point? So again similar question, 0.1 molar barium potassium nitrate, 0.1 molar sodium phosphate, 0.1 molar barium chloride, 0.1 molar potassium sulfate. Since again the molarity is same, the concentration is same, we have to consider only the I, that is KNO3 potassium nitrate, the I is only 2. In case of sodium phosphate Na3PO4, the I value is 4. In case of barium chloride BaCl2, the I value is 3. In case of potassium sulfate K2SO4, the I is equal to 3. So you can easily guess which one will have highest boiling point, this one. So it is the option B which is having highest boiling point. The highest number of particle after dissociation will have highest boiling point, because colligative property depend on the number of particle present in the solution. So move to next question. This one is on osmotic pressure. The order of osmotic pressure of 3 aqueous solution of calcium chloride, sodium chloride and glucose. The order of osmotic pressure. Now we know the order of osmotic pressure, the formula for osmotic pressure is pi equal to CRT. Now whenever there is an electrolyte, the equation become pi equal to I into CRT. Now you can see the concentration of the solution is not mentioned here. So take the concentration same. It is only written aqueous solution. So when it is written aqueous solution, take the concentration same. Now you have calcium chloride for which I value equal to 3, sodium chloride for which I value equal to 2, and glucose C6H12O6 for which I value equal to 1. So the order will be calcium chloride maximum, then sodium chloride, then this. So it is the option A which is the correct answer. The next question is equimolar aqueous solution of sodium chloride and barium chloride are prepared. Equimolar aqueous solution of sodium chloride and barium chloride are prepared. If the freezing point of sodium chloride is -2 degree, the freezing point of barium chloride solution is expected to be. It's a very good question. Equimolar aqueous solution of sodium chloride and barium chloride is taken. So you are having two solutions. One is sodium chloride solution, another is barium chloride solution. Okay, fine. Their molarity is same, that means the concentration is same for both the solution. The concentration is same. So what we have to look? We have to look the I value for this one and this one. For this one I equal to 2, for this one I equal to 3. Okay. Now for this solution, the freezing point of the solution is -2 degrees Celsius. So what is the freezing point of this solution? Now freezing point of water is 0 degree Celsius. Okay. So all these two solutions are prepared in aqueous medium. The freezing point of water is 0 degree Celsius. Now for this one or this one you can write delta TF is equal to I into KF into M for this solution. For this solution, sodium chloride solution, delta TF is equal to I into KF into M. Now here molarity of both the solution, since it is equimolar, are same. The KF is a constant which depend only on the solvent, that is water. So in both case the KF is also same. So we can see delta TF is equal to I, delta TF is equal to I. So if you take the ratio delta TF of barium chloride by delta TF of sodium chloride is equal to I of barium chloride, I of sodium chloride, then you can easily find out delta TF for barium chloride is equal to, this I is 3 divided by 2 into, it is -2 degree Celsius. So the final answer will be -3 degree Celsius. So it is option B which is the correct option. So copy down if you want to copy it, or you can do it yourself also. It's very simple. Simply you have to take the ratio of delta TF for both, because here the freezing point of water is 0 degree. So delta TF is basically the delta TF is lowering of freezing point or depression in freezing point. So it is TF naught minus TF. So TF naught is 0 already. So we can simply use delta TF value here. Okay. So let's move to the next question. The next question is 0.01 molar aqueous solution of potassium chloride and barium chloride are prepared if the freezing point of potassium chloride is -4 degree and the freezing point of barium chloride solution is expected to be. Again you can see it's a similar question. So this question you can answer yourself. So please send the answer in the comment section, then we will discuss it afterward. So let's move to the next one. Which of the following has the highest boiling point? Which of the following has the highest boiling point? 1% glucose, 1% sodium chloride, 1% sucrose, 1% calcium chloride. Now it's a difficult one. It's a difficult question because here the concentration is percent solution. Here the concentration is percent solution. Okay. Now whenever the concentration is a percent solution, then what you have to do? You have to find out the number of moles, and we have to consider also the I value. So in all case, 1% glucose means 1 gram divided by glucose, the molecular weight is 180. Now 1% sodium chloride, it is 1 gram divided by 58.5. Okay. Now 1% sucrose, it is 1 gram divided by 342 gram. Now calcium chloride, 1% means 1 gram divided by calcium chloride, the mass of calcium chloride, calcium it is 40, chlorine it is 35.5, so it is 71 plus 40, so 111. So you can see in case of glucose and sucrose, the denominator is so large that the number of moles will be very less. So only we will consider sodium and calcium chloride. Again you can see in case of sodium chloride, the denominator is just half, almost half. So when it is almost half, now we have to consider whether what is the I value here, because that I need to be multiplied. Here for sodium chloride I is 2, for calcium chloride I equal to 3. Now if you calculate this 1 divided by 111 into 3, you will find the molarity of this will be higher. Let me check in the calculator. 1 divided by 111 into 3, so it is coming 0.027, and this one 1 divided by 58.5 into 2, so it is coming 0.034. So actually sodium chloride is higher, sorry, it is not the calcium chloride. As you can see, in case of sodium chloride, if you multiply the number of moles with the I value, you are getting more number of particles. Here you are getting less number of particles. So sodium chloride will have higher value. That is, sodium chloride will have the highest boiling point. Okay. The next question is, the Van 't factor of equimolar solution of sodium chloride, barium chloride and glucose in water are. The Van 't factor, that is, you have to find out I. The Van 't factor of equimolar solution, the concentration is same, so no need to calculate the number of moles. So in terms of molarity it is same, so no need to calculate. It is sodium chloride, you all know, I equal to 2, barium chloride BaCl2 I equal to 3, for glucose I equal to 1. So the ratio will be 2:3:1. So the option D is the correct option, 2:3:1. The next question is, the degree of ionization of HF, the degree of ionization of HF in 0.100 molar aqueous solution is. So you have to find out the degree of ionization of HF in 0.1 molar aqueous solution. Now what all things are given? The freezing point of the solution is minus 0.197. The freezing point of the solution is minus 0.197 and the Kf value is given. So we know HF, it will dissociate into H plus ion plus F minus ion, H plus ion into F minus ion. Now what you have to find out? You have to first find out the I value. We know delta TF is equal to I into Kf into M. So we can find out I is equal to delta TF divided by Kf into m. Now m is Wb, sorry, m already it is given. Actually here it is molarity given, so molality will be same here since it is Hf, so we can take simply 0.1. will be approximately same. Okay, now if you calculate, the value will be minus 0.19, so this will be plus divided by 1.86 into 0.1. So the final answer become, let me check it in the calculator, you also check yourself. So it is 0.197 divided by 1.86 divided by 0.1, so I is equal to 1.059 this coming. So what will be the alpha value? Alpha is equal to I minus 1 divided by n minus 1. So I minus 1 means 1.059 minus 1 divided by n is 2 minus 1. So finally it is 0.059. So alpha equal to 0.059. Hence we can write percentage ionization is equal to 0.059 into 100, so that is 5.9%. so in the option you can see there is 6%, which is close to 5.9, so we'll take that option as the correct option. So it is option A, having 6% ionization. You can copy down the answer. Okay, let's move to the next question. The next question read like this: a solution of 1.25 gram of P in 50 gram of water, lower freezing point by 0.3 degree. Molar mass of P is 94, Kf is 1.86. The degree of association of P in water if P undergo dimerization. Once again read the question, because you know the first step in solving the problem is to know what the question is all about. So read once again: a solution of 1.25 gram of P is a compound, in say 50 gram water, lower freezing point by 0.3 degree. The molar mass of P is 94, Kf is 1.86. The degree of association of P in water if P undergo dimerization is how much? So let's first note down what all things are given. The given part you should know first. The amount Wb is equal to 1.25 gram. Okay, what is Wa? Wa is 50 gram of water. Okay, what is the lowering of freezing point? Delta Tf is equal to 0.3 degree. 0.3 degree lowering of freezing point. The molar mass Mb is equal to 94. The Kf value 1.86. So these all data are given, and P undergo dimerization. So when it is dimerization, n equal to 2. If it is trimerization, n equal to 3. Tetramerization, n equal to 4. What you have to calculate? You have to calculate alpha. So the entire question part you have noted. Now we know the formula delta Tf is equal to I into Kf into m. So from here we have to find out I. So I into Kf into Wb by Mb into 1000 by Wa. So we can write I is equal to delta Tf into Mb into Wa divided by Kf into Wb into 1000. So put the data. 0.3 into Mb is 94 into Wa is 50 divided by Kf is 1.86 into Wb is 1.25 into 1000. So you can take the help of calculator, or you can solve yourself also. Let me see what it is coming. Point 3 into 94 into 5 divided by 1.86 divided by 1.25 divided by 100. So it is coming out to be 0.606. Without calculator also you can solve, but that will take more time and the video will be much longer. So I am doing the calculation in the calculator. You can do it yourself. It will not take much time if you practice 2-3 times. Okay, so I equal to 0.606. Now how we can calculate the alpha value? Alpha is equal to 1 minus I divided by 1 minus 1 by n for association. So 1 minus 0.606, or you can take 0.6 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2, that is 0.5. So it is above, it is 0.4 divided by 0.5. So 0.4 by 0.5, it is 0.8. Sorry, 0.08. 4 by 5, 0.8, sorry, 0.8. So alpha is 0.8, that means it is 80%. The next question read like this: in an electrolyte, AB is 100% ionized in 10% aqueous solution. An electrolyte AB is 100% ionized in 10% aqueous solution. What is the osmotic pressure of 10% solution of the electrolyte at 300 Kelvin if molecular weight of AB is 200 gram per mole? So once again you have to note down the data given. An electrolyte is 100% ionized, so here we can say alpha is equal to 1. Now 10% solution, what is the osmotic pressure of 10% solution of electrolyte? So you have to find out pi, osmotic pressure. The temperature given is 300 Kelvin. Okay, if the molecular weight, that is Mb, is given as 200 gram per mole. Okay, done. Now what is I value to an electrolyte which is 100% dissociate? So here we can say AB will dissociate into A plus and B minus. So here N is equal to 2. If N equal to 2, since it is 100% dissociation, I is also equal to 2. So we can write pi equal to I into CRT. Now the question is, what is the concentration of the solution? Since the solution is 10%, 10% means 10 gram present in 100 gram of the solution. So number of moles is 10 divided by 200 is the number of moles present in 100 gram or 100 ml of the solution. So this much present in 100 ml of the solution. So in 1000 ml of the solution it is 10 by 200 into 10 in 1000 ml solution. So you can see it is 0.5 moles present in 1000 ml solution. So we can write I equal to 2, concentration C is equal to 0.5, R it is 0.082, T it is 300 Kelvin. So the final answer become, once again let me check in the calculator, this will be 1, so it is 3 into 8, 8.2 into 3, 24.6, it will be approximately 24.6. So we can check the answer. Yeah, there is the answer, option D, 24.6, which is the correct option. Let's move to the next problem. The next problem is, which of the following compound have the same value of Van 't Hoff factor as that of aluminium sulfate? Which of the following compound have the same value of Van 't Hoff factor as that of aluminium sulfate? So you can see from the formula of aluminium sulfate, Al2SO4 whole thrice, it will dissociate into 2Al3 plus 3SO4 2 minus. So total number of ion N equal to 5. Since 100% dissociation, I is also equal to 5. So from the option given, the first option K4 FeCN whole 6, that is potassium ferrocyanide, it will dissociate into 4K plus ion plus FeCN whole 6 4 minus, that is ferrocyanide ion. Here also the number of N equal to 5, so I equal to 5. So the correct answer is option A. The next problem, when an electrolyte is dissociated in solution, its Van 't Hoff factor is, when an electrolyte is dissociated in solution, its Van 't Hoff factor is. I think this question we should have done before. Whatever it is, let us do it now. Now since a electrolyte dissociate, that means it will dissociate, if 1 mole you are taking, it will produce either 2 moles of ion. For example, sodium chloride will dissociate into sodium ion, chloride ion. So 1 mole sodium chloride produce 1 mole sodium ion, 1 mole chloride ion. So total number of ions become 2 moles. So after dissociation, number of particle increases, and since colligative property depend on the number of solute particle present in the solution, so for electrolyte where dissociation takes place, the colligative property increases and the Van 't Hoff factor become greater than 1. In case of association, association means 2 or 3 molecules combine together to give a single large molecule. 2 or more molecules combine together to give a single large molecule. For example, acetic acid, say benzoic acid, all this acid in non-polar solvent, they undergo dimerization. 2 molecules combine to form 1 molecule, and in that case the number of particles decreases. If the number of particles decreases, I become less than 1. So here the answer will be, since it is dissociation being asked, so I will be greater than 1, that is option A. The next question, it is a very important question. Please pay full attention, otherwise you will miss the solving technique. The empirical formula of a non-electrolyte is given as CH2O. A solution containing 3 grams of the compound exert the same osmotic pressure as that of 0.05 molar glucose solution. The molecular formula of the compound. So please read the question once again. The empirical formula of a non-electrolyte is CH2O. There is no mistake, it's all right. The empirical formula of a non-electrolyte is CH2O. A solution containing 3 grams of the compound, that compound you are taking 3 gram, exerts same osmotic pressure as 0.05 molar glucose solution. The molecular formula of the compound is, so you have to find out the molecular formula from the empirical formula given. So in order to find out the molecular formula, you need to find out the molecular weight. So that means you have to find out MB. So first of all, let me write what we have to find out first. We have to find out MB. Now what all things are given? WB is 3 gram given. The empirical formula is CH2O. Okay, you have to find out the molecular formula that you have to find out. Okay, this solution, another solution is the glucose solution, that is 0.05 molar glucose solution is having same osmotic pressure. Both the solution is having same osmotic pressure. So what we can write, both the solution, say this solution the osmotic pressure is pi 1, for glucose it is pi 2. Both are having same osmotic pressure, so we can write pi 1 equal to pi 2 since it is given in the question. So it is C1 RT is equal to C2 RT. So RT are constant, so we can write C1 equal to C2. Okay, now C2, it is given 0.05 molar. Now what is C1? C1 we don't know. We know it is weight by molecular weight, that is 3 gram divided by MB. From here we can find out MB is equal to 3 divided by 0.05. So the answer will be 60, isn't it? So 60 is the molecular weight. Now find out the empirical formula weight. CH2O, the weight will be 12 plus 2 14, 14 plus 16 is equal to 30. So we have to find out N factor, N equal to molecular weight by empirical formula weight, and that will be 60 by 30, so it is 2. So multiply this empirical formula with 2, you will get the final answer, and that is C2H4O2. This is the final answer, and the option is option B is the correct option. You can note down the answer part, or you can do it yourself also. Once you understand the problem, you can solve yourself. So it's better you solve yourself rather than copying from this video. I will recommend you do it yourself, understand the problem and then do it yourself. The next problem read like this: 1.5 gram of non-volatile non-electrolyte is dissolved in 50 gram benzene. 1.5 gram of non-volatile non-electrolyte is dissolved in 50 gram benzene. The elevation in boiling point of the solution is 0.75 Kelvin. The molar mass of the solute. So you have to find the molar mass of the solute. So first of all, you should write down the given part. WB 1.5 gram. You can see the questions are there in my mobile phone, from where I am copying down the data given. 1.5 gram. The solvent WA is 50 gram. The elevation in boiling point of the solvent, that is delta TB, is equal to 0.75 Kelvin. The molar mass of the solute, that is MB, this you have to find out. Simple, it's not very difficult. You have to find out MB. So how we can find out MB? We have the relation delta TB is equal to non-volatile non-electrolyte, so there is no need of using I, simply KB into M, or M you can write, it is WB divided by MB into 1000 by WA. Fine. So MB MB is equal to KB into WB into 1000 divided by delta TB into WA. So KB is, what is the KB value given? KB 2.5, WB 1.5, 1000, delta TB 0.75, then what else? WA, it is 50. Okay. So you can solve it like this. 0.25, if it is 2.5, so if it is 0.25, .3, then cross it, 0.3, 0.3 cancel out, so final answer is 100. So MB is 100. So it is option D which is the correct option. Okay, let's move to our next problem. The next problem read like this: phenol dimerize in benzene having Van 't Hoff factor 0.54. What is the degree of association? It's a very good question. Phenol dimerize in benzene having Van 't Hoff factor 0.54. What is the degree of association? So here the Van 't Hoff factor I is given, which is 0.54, and it is given phenol it dimerizes. So when it is dimerizes, the N value is 2. So we can easily find out alpha is equal to 1 minus I divided by 1 minus 1 by N. So the answer is 1 minus 0.54 divided by 1 minus 1 by 2. So it is 0.46 divided by 0.50. So the final answer is 0.92. 0.92. The option D is the correct option. Next, move to the next question. When 20 gram naphthoic acid is dissolved in 50 gram benzene, 20 gram naphthoic acid is dissolved in 50 gram benzene, Kf is 1.72, freezing point depression 2 Kelvin is observed, then Van 't Hoff factor is, so you have to find out Van 't Hoff factor. The data given are 20 gram naphthoic acid, so WB is 20 gram, WA is 50 gram, then Kf is equal to 1.72, then delta TF is equal to 2 Kelvin, then you have to find out I. So I we know it is I is equal to delta TF divided by Kf into M. So delta TF is equal to 2 Kelvin, Kf is equal to 1.72 into M is molality, that is weight of solute 20 into 1000, then molecular weight of the solute naphthoic acid, the molecular weight you have to calculate C11H8O2. C11 means 12 into 11 plus 8 plus 16 into 2. So the final answer is so it is 172. So we will write 172, then it is 50, that is WA. So 0 cancel out into 100, so 100 cancel out, 2 10 5 2, so it is 1 by 2, so 0.5. So let's check the option. It is the first option which is 0.5. So our answer is option A, that is the correct option, 0.5. Next question. For an ideal binary liquid mixture, delta S 0, delta G 0. For an ideal binary liquid mixture, we have learned that for an ideal solution, delta H mix is 0, delta V mix is 0. Okay. Now, the formation of the mixture, that is, you are mixing the two components. Now they mix spontaneously, that means the process is spontaneous. So delta G mix will always be less than 0 since the process is spontaneous. The second point is, when you mix two substances, the entropy of the system, that is randomness of the system, increases. Why the randomness of the system increases? Because before mixing there is component A, component B separated. The moment you mix together, there is randomness in the system as A and B mix together. So delta S, the entropy of the system, that increases. So we will check in which of the options these are correct. So you can see in the last option, delta S mix is positive, delta G mix is negative. So it is option D which is the correct option. Let's move to the next question. Which of the following is true for an ideal solution? Which of the following is true for an ideal solution? Delta H 0, that is true. Delta S 0, no. Delta G 0, no. None of this. So you can get the answer, that is the first option. Next question. The value of Henry's law constant Kh is, the value of Henry's law constant Kh. Kh is the Henry's law constant, and if you remember the expression, P is equal to Kh into X. P is equal to Kh into X. That means higher the Kh value, lower is the X value. That means lower is the solubility. Higher the Kh value, lower is the X value, because the product Kh into X, that should be the atmospheric pressure, that is 1 atm. So we can see it is the option B which is the correct option. It is the option B which is the correct option. So it is greater for gas with lower solubility. Next question. The next question, it is the last question, and with this I will finish today's lecture. And this is a very important question. So the question is, the vapor pressure of pure benzene and pure toluene at a particular temperature is 150 respectively. The mole fraction of benzene in vapor phase in contact with equimolar solution of benzene and toluene is. Read the question once again. The vapor pressure of pure benzene and toluene at particular temperature are 150. So what it is given? You are having pure benzene where the vapor pressure Pa0 is equal to 100. You are having pure toluene where the vapor pressure of the component B is 50. Okay. Now you are mixing these two to form a solution where you have component A, that is benzene plus toluene, and which is in the 1:1 mixture, equimolar, in 1:1 mole ratio. So what you have to find out? You have to find out the mole fraction of benzene in the vapor phase. The mole fraction of benzene in the vapor phase, it is Ya, that you have to find out. So Ya, that you have to find out. Okay. This is what the question is all about. Now to solve the question, let's see the question in a proper way. See, in this mixture, the mole fraction of benzene is Xa and the mole fraction of toluene is Xb. The mole fraction of benzene in the vapor phase is Ya and that of toluene is Yb. Okay. Now in solution part, it is governed by Raoult's law. It is governed by Raoult's law. So here we can write P total is equal to Pa naught Xa plus Pb naught Xb, and we can write Pa is equal to Pa naught Xa and Pb is equal to Pb naught Xb. This we can write easily. Okay. Now in the vapor phase, it is governed by Dalton's law. Dalton's law of partial pressure, which says the partial pressure of A is equal to total pressure into mole fraction of the component in the vapor phase. So here we can find out the mole fraction by doing Pa by P total. Now what is Pa? Pa is equal to Pa naught Xa. P total is equal to Pa naught Xa plus Pb naught Xb. Okay. Now what is Xa and Xb? Since you are taking 1 mole each, Xa will be 1 divided by 1 plus 1. Xa, it is 1 divided by 1 plus 1, so it is 0.5. So Xb, it is also 0.5. So we can put here, so it is 100 into 0.5 divided by 100 into 0.5 plus 50 into 0.5. So finally you are having 50 divided by 50 plus 25, it is 75. So that is 0.67. 0.67 is the final answer. Hope you understood all the problems solved in this video. Please solve as many problems as you can so that the formulas and the equation become memorized and you can use the formula appropriately in different problems. Secondly, you can write to me in the comment section. All your problems, your suggestions are always welcome. And lastly, if you get benefited from this video, please share this video with your friend so that they also get benefited, and like this video, share this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you.